Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, Attorney General Bondi, for being here today. You are, in my mind, a breath of fresh air to our Department of Justice.
Thank you.
Thank you. So thank you for your dedication to the Constitution and for equal justice under the law. I am sorely impressed with your experience and how you have handled the Department of Justice so far. As we all know, under the Biden-Harris administration, the Department of Justice, FBI, and ATF were dangerously weaponized to target President Trump and everyday Americans, tactics more fitting of an authoritarian regime than a constitutional republic. From politically persecuting President Trump, then President Biden's chief political rival, to going after pro-life advocates like Mark Houck, the actions of the Attorney General Garland, Director Wray, and the DOJ leadership were unacceptable and unconstitutional, in my opinion. That's why I was very encouraged to see the President's FY26 budget commit to ending the weaponization within the Department of Justice and the FBI. And so, can you elaborate for me, how has the Trump administration's DOJ shifted away from politically motivated investigations and refocused on its core mission, prosecuting the most dangerous criminals? And you mentioned that a little bit in your opening remarks. So if you can focus on the moving away part, I'd appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, Congressman Clyde, and thank you for that. And also, our budget includes $1.2 billion and 2,444 agents for ATF. And those agents will be on the street with DEA. And thank you for letting me answer that question.
Yes, ma'am.
And we are prioritizing resources addressing illegal firearms and traffickers, and we will reduce unnecessary regulatory efforts, including what I just said about the weaponization. That's how ATF, I believe, was weaponized in the prior administration. Also, they were arresting peaceful protesters, the Biden administration, at abortion facilities. No longer. They targeted Catholics at church services. No longer. No longer will parents be arrested at school board meetings because they care about their children. That has ended under this department. That's why Donald Trump won the popular vote and the Electoral College by overwhelming margins. He made that crystal clear, and that's what's happening now in our country. That weaponization has ended. These ATF agents will be on the street fighting drugs. I have been a career prosecutor. ATF has taken thousands of guns off the streets since January 20th, working hand in hand with DEA. Drugs and guns go together. Core function, no more targeting and weaponizing our citizens by any of the agencies.
Thank you. Thank you for that
Congressman.
commitment.
Thank you.
I was delighted to see that the Department of Justice's fiscal year 26 budget also included a dedicated fund for a firearm rights restoration initiative. Can you describe this initiative a little bit and any other steps that your department is taking to restore the Second Amendment rights to Americans who are unlawfully or unjustly stripped of them by prior administrations? Can you talk about that a little bit, please?
Yes, Congressman, and that is the pardon power, of course, falls with the president, and he has been doing many pardons on that topic, and he will continue to do that, I am certain. Also, one other thing about ATF is our seizure of firearms is up 33% from this time last year.
Thank you.
Wanted to add that. Thank you.
Thank you. I was going to ask you about the merger of DEA and the ATF, and kind of, if you'd elaborate on that. You've talked a little bit about it already. The one thing that I think is very important is that the ATF and federal firearms licensees work together, because truly FFLs are the front line when it comes to illegal purchases and just the information that is out there, and we can help each other as long as we have a good relationship with each other. And during the last administration, it was a terrifying relationship. I mean, you had the zero tolerance against federal firearms licenses. I'm sorry, we're all human. Everybody makes mistakes, okay? And they're not intentional, they're just mistakes. And when you can lose your livelihood and you can lose your business and your employees can lose their jobs over simple mistakes, that's a real problem, especially when, if you think about federal firearms licensees, they're the pathway to the Second Amendment of the Constitution. they enable individual participation in the protection of liberty. I mean, that's what federal firearms licensees do. So I think it's really important to have that critical relationship between ATF and the federal firearms licensees. And, you know, when the inspectors, when the ATF went from the Treasury to the Department of Justice, and the inspection side of it, when the IOIs, when they were, you know, industry operations inspectors, when they became industry operations investigators, okay? You investigate crime, you really inspect records. That was concerning to me. So my thought was maybe we could move the IOIs to the Department of Commerce, but just would get your thought on that.
Yeah, and Congressman, that's the first time I've heard about that. I would love to meet with you and learn more
Great.
about that.
I look
But
forward
thank you
to it.
for asking about the ATF-DEA merger. You know, in the world in which we live, bureaucracy has been around for a very long time. And just because things have been done one way for decades and decades doesn't mean that is the most efficient way to do them in the future. And that, I'm a career prosecutor. I care about ATF. I went to ATF's memorial service. We are doing everything we can to put those ATF agents on the street where they want to be. Anyone in modern day history, the years of prohibition are over. ATF, they want to be on the street. They want to be working hand in hand with DEA. That's what they do. No redundancy, no repeat of investigations. They are going to be working together, and that's what this reorganization does. And they're all going to be, it's going to be a great marriage between those two agencies. They're working hand in hand on task forces already. Now they will be working under one umbrella, and it's going to be great for our country.
Thank you very much.
Thank
I
you.
yield back.